And asparagus, huh, Holly?
Yeah, so asparagus
This is a commitment now.
It's a commitment, yeah. So this is a long game.
If you're planning on moving, this ain't the crop to put in the ground.
Well, you could, but it might get torn up by the next people. Right. So this is a long game plant. But it's a perennial, which means it comes back year after year. It's one of the perennial vegetables that are out there. And you can harvest after what is the third year. It technically takes 5 years from seed to plant, but most people don't grow it directly from seed. They grow it from the crowns.
And you can purchase 1 year or 2 year crowns. Obviously, the 2 year crown's a little more costly, but you get the harvest quicker.
Right. So you can purchase the crowns. Asparagus, if you're in the store, you're like, why? It's usually not exactly like the cheapest vegetable as compared to something like green peppers or tomatoes. But there's only, everywhere in the world, no matter where the asparagus is coming from, there's only an 8-week window of harvest.
Now, and we see asparagus in the grocery store basically year round, but again, they're coming from all over the world in order to provide that consistent asparagus that you're seeing.
But asparagus is exciting because it's typically the first fresh vegetable itself.
Oh, it's hardy.
Well, right, but it's typically the first fresh vegetable itself
right.
You'll see at a farmer's market,
right,
or a farm stand. So that's exciting, or in your yard. So mature plants, they grow about 16 spears a season. So one plant is going to give you 16 spears. That's another reason why it's kind of a delicacy.
Right. Now, when you get a crown, if you're getting what we would advise if you're going to work with asparagus, get a 2-year crown. And you plant it, you spread the root system out. It looks like a giant spider, and each one of those root systems roots produces the spheres that you'll harvest.
Yeah, so you're gonna get a plant that has this like clump of like stringy roots essentially, and so what you want to do is you don't want to just like toss the roots into the soil and okay, that's good enough. You want to actually dig kind of a trench. Take the roots. The trench only has to be like, I don't know what, 4 to 6 inches deep-ish.
Probably, yeah. All based on the type of root system you got, yeah.
And then you want to take and you want to spread it out. So you want to take those roots and you'll see that there's literally like a crown at the top. And at the bottom, you want to spread those roots nice and wide and open. And
whenever you do this, you want to get it from a reputable source. You just don't want to... you get your crowns, and you can get them at Jung Seed. And if you want to save a little bit on your purchase, you can use code 10TG22 at jungseeds.com. And you want to make sure that they do come up, because you plant them this spring, you will see them begin to grow. We had this problem a couple of years ago. We got them from our local independent garden center. They had been at their local independent garden center for quite some time. The roots were dead in the box, and we planted them. And a month later, nothing happened. So we investigated, and out of the 10 that we bought, I think 1 had grown. And you called that garden center, and they said, "Oh, you're basically, you don't know what you're talking about. Let them grow some more." And you used the card, because we always have, quote unquote, the card that we play. You said, "I have a National Garden Talk radio show. I know if things are growing or not." "Oh, okay. Well, bring them in, and we'll get you a refund." That was their answer.
Right.
And if it was just somebody else, they wouldn't have believed.
And we don't even know who this person was. It was like a garden center person. So it could have been like my high school cousin, or I don't have a high school cousin, but it could have been somebody's high school cousin working the garden center during the summer. So anyway, one thing you want to keep in mind is you want to keep these in full sun. And as Joy had mentioned, the reason why we're talking about it now is because if you do decide to get crowns, you're going to plant these
right away.
Right away. As soon as the soil can be worked.
Chisel them in.
Yeah, chisel them in. And then you want to just leave them, but you want full sun. And you want to avoid a high traffic area. You want to think about, okay, this is going to be here for 20 years, and this is going to be their spot, because you're not going to dig them up and move them.
And you heard that right. 20-year, these things will last between 20 and 50 years. Back home, there was an adjacent farm to us, and they had asparagus that was there for every bit of 20 plus years. And I remember harvesting that. And if you've never had, I mean, we've all probably had asparagus from the grocery store. But it's a whole different experience when you have grown it your own, or you got it at the farmer's market, which was harvested probably 6 hours before you purchased it, or 12 hours maximum. Very, very different and much, much better.
Right. So, yeah, so you want to do the think about where you're going to plant them, and then you want to make sure that the soil is well draining, because if it's an area that the soil pools or puddles, those roots are going to rot.
Clay soil is not the area in which you want to plant asparagus at all. And you will see people on video and articles about growing asparagus in containers, the size that half a whiskey barrel. Don't do it. It's not worth the effort and the headache in which you just put it in the ground. If you can't put it in the ground, support your local farmer's market and buy it there.
And one thing I would recommend is definitely plant or mulching around. So once you get them planted in, you want to mulch around, and you also want to kind of make sure you know where they're going to come up, because you might, in the next spring, they're not coming up.
They're all weeds. We'll just mow that area down and, that was the asparagus.
So we put some PVC piping, the
3-inch tall, and just to mark each plant as they come up. Yeah.
And then it's kind of fun, like a little game. Oh, this is coming up. So I think we can harvest this year, right?
It will be close. We can get something off of it this year. Yeah, it won't be much, but we will be able to harvest something. And the fun fact about asparagus for the day is it can grow 6 inches in 1 day.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a crazy amount.
So you definitely don't want...
Some fourth graders don't grow that fast.
You want to keep in mind, though, that because you know that now, don't think, well, I'm going to wait, because I love asparagus. I'm going to wait till I get the tallest asparagus, because it's going to get woody and tough and just not be delicious.
Might as well eat a limb off the tree if you're going to do that, because you can't get through it.
Like an elk.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Well, growing asparagus, if you've never done it and you have the capabilities and the commitment that you're going to stay where you're at for years, it's definitely something. We wish we would have done it 10 years ago.
Oh, for sure.
We wish we would have done 10 years ago. So with that said, Walton's. Walton's is a proud supporter of the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show, Holly.
Yeah, we are brought to you today by our sponsor, Walton's. Listen, folks, we know you care about where your food comes from. Canning and preserving your fruits and vegetables is great, but what about the meat? At waltonsinc.com, you can get all the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. Do you want to make snack sticks that people actually like? Walton's created meatgistics.com.
And you can make them as spicy or as plain as you want.
Yeah. That's important.
Yes.
We've
all been there. Hey, try this. Your face burns off and everybody laughs. Oh, you don't like spicy stuff.
Especially for your loved ones.
Yeah. You can ruin a Thanksgiving like that, can't you?
Yeah. You'll keep the house warm.
Uh-huh.
So
anyway, continue.
And meatgistics.com is an informational site to help you make the best finished product. Walton's even has a full line of their own meat grinders, mixers, and sausage stuffers to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's, everything but the meat. Use code GROW22 to save 10% of orders of $50 or more to get free shipping.
Yeah, that's GROW22 at checkout. Save 10% on your order of $50 or more and get that free shipping.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.